hello, and welcome excuse me. Welcome to Tally the Votes presents Reality Bites, The Vampire Lestat, Episode 3, Toronto. I am here tonight with my loyal vamps, Brian, David, and Christy, and this week's episode featured the music of T-Rex's Jewel, and of course, the Lestat Originals, Biggest Fear and Loneliness, directed by Claudia Lassa. Now, this is the first she's directed this season, so we get a little bit of a different flavor going in. And much like Toronto's newest up-and-coming wedding photographer will tell you, anything worth doing is done in the rule of thirds, and so we shall accommodate. We will break tonight's episode down to 3 parts. Those parts will be Lestat, Louis, and the true theme of this episode, and basically the entire series, trauma. But before we start, to feel all the deep feels of the episode, let's ask the group, how did the episode land? What do you think? Don't everybody go at once. David, your thoughts on the episode?
You know, I liked it a lot. I didn't like it as much as last week. And I said I did a lot of thinking about why, and I think it was the Louis Lestat confrontation last week that got me. I think that was like a big moment. I felt like, and this moved the story forward a ton, but it just didn't have the vibe of the first two in my mind. I mean, there was a lot of great things that happened, a lot of great moments, but to me, it was the weakest of the 3 episodes.
Okay, and Christy.
I completely disagree with everything that David just said. They're huge. I feel like this was, while the first episode was like our first little taste, that first little hit that they give you for free. You know, we were like, oh my God, we need more of this. We need more of this. The second episode for me was a little less, for the reasons that I stated last week, only that there were some things that they did that or didn't show from some of his backstory that I was like, that could have been cooler. Which this episode from his backstory story proved that they could have done it better. So this one, huge upgrade from last week. It was spot on. It was beautiful. The juxtaposition, it was just no notes, perfection, literally.
All right, Brian.
Well, I'm going to disagree with both of you and say that this is probably my third favorite of the 3. Not for maybe the reason you think, and I'll go into it when we talk about the different parts. There was a part of this episode that I thought was fantastic and I loved, and there was a part of this episode that I got tired of, and we'll go into it as we discuss the episode. So that one part kind of drug down the really good stuff in the other part of the episode for me. So I thought it was good, but they pack a lot into this, but there was some stuff that kind of wore thin on me in this episode.
Okay.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear.
I'm gonna be a little bit more towards the side that Christy is, where I might even say, because I haven't watched the rest of the season, possibly could be one of my favorite episodes of the year, not just in this show in particular. This
just for Sam's acting.
Yeah, this episode packed such a punch and performance, but also to me, it felt the closest to what it felt like reading Anne Rice. So to me, I feel like that means that they were really touching base on the truth of the story, probably more than we have in a really long time. But we're going to get into all of that because
spoke to our inner goth child, right? We were just like,
yes, all of so many of the
tortured artists. Anyway,
the hottest. Okay, so let's start with Lestat. So Daniel is set up to interview Lestat, and in true fashion, he is late. He's out gallivanting and feeding with Gabriella. He eventually arrives to interview, and then begins a constant push-pull of power struggle between 2 personalities, the truth, a lie, and what lays somewhere in between those 2 things. Lestat speaks of being 9 years old and witnessing the death of teenagers being murdered at the stake in accusation of being witches, and of the stutter. He teases Daniel and counters his bullying with a fake out. But after some tit for tat, Lestat speaks of Paris and Nicolas Delafont, his first love, a musician, a tailor's son from the old village, a son who has a worried father, a father who has encouraged Lestat to make a man of his boy, and boy does he, it goes where you think it goes. And he begins to...
Are you going to make a man of me, Lestat?
And he begins to hint at his turning and the meeting of his maker, Magnus. Okay, so first takes on Nicholas. What do we got? What do you think? As people who have not read, people who have read,
I know Nicholas way too well. So what did you guys think of seeing him? Because I know all of his stuff. So
I thought they packed a pretty good economical story in to basically say there are some people that are just too sensitive and too delicate to be made a vampire, that he really was like this sort of sweet, artistic minded soul that could not live in the darkness of the world that he encountered when he became a vampire. And I thought that was done well. And I thought it was nice to give Gabriella a moment to show that she was a decent mom when she told him, don't do this. This is a mistake. Because Gabriella
she speaks
is
the
like
truth to him. Yeah.
She does, and she is maybe the perfect person to make a vampire because and Nicholas is like totally the opposite of her. And so she probably knew as well as anyone what this would do to him. And so I like that part. I like seeing him, and I felt a lot of sympathy for him.
I would like to point out, thanks to Christy mentioning this last week, that we do see the cloak that Lestat wears, his red cloak lined with the fur of the wolves that he killed, that he slayed. And also I'd also like to point out the softness that Sam Reed has when he is still
Lestat
mortal.
Human form. Yeah.
Yes. And a credit to his acting. Obviously, his eyes are softer; they're less harsh, of course. But there's just something about him altogether that's just more malleable and soft, and
young,
close.
naive. It's still his youth, right? He's 30, but he's not 280. So
yeah, he's not callous. He's not cruel. He doesn't play with his prey. It is just. Here's a guy trying to make it in the world, and I feel like in the very beginning of all of this, his love for Nikki was very true. David, what did you think?
I like the story. I like where it went. I not reading the books, obviously, I was shocked when at his reaction to being turned, and that was interesting. I felt as a character, as a portrayal, very meh. I didn't feel. I mean, where Sam Reed just exudes magnetism, he didn't exude anything to me.
Well,
and
David, there's a reason for that
little bit of time, right?
There's a reason for that. Christy will understand. Also, other people out there that are Duran Duran fans will understand. It's the hair. It's the hair. He had Andy Taylor hair. Sorry, Andy, you're got a guitar, buddy, but that was an Andy haircut.
My take on this, they did a really good job of kind of portraying Nicholas. The difference that they kind of like changed the timeline a little bit because they had made these guys older, because Lestat is not 30 when he's changed in the books. He's in his, 20, 21, like his prime or whatever. And he knows Nicholas. He's a boy from the village, right? Yeah, of his dad's subjects. After the wolves are killed and his mom's nursing him back, right? She said that they have taken the pelts. They want to honor you. They want to do something. Well, that was Nicholas and his dad. Basically, his dad's the tailor, makes that cloak. Nicholas helps his dad. His dad wants him to be a tailor. He thinks this is like so stupid. Get your head out of the clouds. You cannot be a musician. You need to be a tailor, right? It's a good job. You can feed yourself. All of the things that
which would be a normal reaction for a father in that time period who was a tradesman.
Absolutely.
You can't go live your life this way. You're not going to be able to make a living.
Right. Meanwhile, Lestat's still stuck at home. He's now the wolf killer, and the town loves him, and he's being heralded there. But his family's still shitty to him, still totally jerks. And they meet and they start talking and they find out that they kind of like jive on the like things they say. You know that first time when you get somebody smart and you're drinking and you're young and you're like you start having those like philosophical conversations and you're like, oh yeah, they're really making me look. You know what I'm saying? We've all had that situation in our late teens or whatever. This was him, and that's why they fall in love. They feel like, oh my God, we're the only two that see the world the same way. They decide to leave their families and escape to Paris. He's going to be a musician. Lestat's going to be an actor, and they go there together in the book. So you get a lot more time to get to know Nicholas. And I'm going to say right now, and I don't know if you guys caught this, it's Nicholas's fault. I mean, it's kind of Lestat's fault that Nicholas goes mad because they're fine.
Definitely.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. He disappears one night out the window, right? Comes back, acts like nothing's happened. He's clearly a vampire now. And he kind of like reads his mind. He
gaslights the shit out of him.
And he's like reading his mind. He's doing all these things to him that he can do now because, you know, he's not good at hiding that he's a vampire yet. And Nicholas is literally like, what would you do in that situation? It would make you lose your mind.
How long was he gone in the book, Christy?
Like 3 nights, I want to say.
So it's interesting. He didn't have to learn all of that. Whereas like Louis had to learn all the vampire tricks. And Daniel has learned none of them.
Like Magnus gives him very small instructions and all his money, and then pieces out. Like it's like that. But
Later, bro.
yeah, so like he's already gone and saved his mom because she's been in Paris. She came to see him as an actor. It's like a month. It's like a month into him being a vampire, and Nicholas is finally, we saw it, confronting him like, what the heck, dude? Like you're not even gonna fess up. Like something's going on, and then he's already losing his mind, and then that's why he should not be turned into a vampire.
Well,
and as Gabriella says, disaster, my son.
Don't drag him into eternity. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
let's talk about that. First, we witnessed the decay of he and Nikki, thanks to that dark gift splitting between them. Lestat and Gabriella use abuse and gaslight, of course, to get through and control Nikki. He insists on being changed himself. I thought that was a really interesting note. When he said, I want you to love me enough to give it to me.
Yeah. How could you give it to her? You didn't give it to me. Like I'm the one that understands you. We ran off together. You're the love of, we're in love. Right.
Yes.
And Gabriella's just sitting over there. All of us are parents. We all have children that
She
are
knows.
past our dating age. We have, or even not even dating. We have all had that one friend or girlfriend or boyfriend of our kid that we go, oh God, really this one?
Sure have.
This one? Okay. That is what she is looking at. She doesn't think he's nearly good enough for her son.
Yes.
Just based on personality. She's not judging him any other that he's not going to endure. He's not going to be able to do
and
this.
she warns him against it. She tells him that his affection for him has worn out, and he knows
it's already worn out. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but love, obsession, guilt, whatever it is, convinces Lestat to turn him, and then he falls deeper into his madness. Then we get a revisit of a scene that we have seen in the previous season. We have the scene at the Opera House where Lestat and Armand are looking on over Nikki as he plays and erupts. But this time, the view and perspective is a little bit different because, surprise, Gabriella is there, and Lestat finds Armand to be insufferable.
Insufferable. This is so hilarious. I laughed throughout the scene. The fact that Lestat makes he says the thing at one point in the other season that it was a roomy box, but now it's too small for his, depression or whatever.
There is not room enough in this box for your desperation.
Yeah. And that's how he is. He's like this desperate little, but whereas before, Armand's like, oh, it was so romantic. Look at how much we loved each other. Also, the fact Armand does not remember Gabriella being there. So funny. It's so funny. He's like having this
conveniently leaves the third wheel out, right?
It's like, yeah, he's over there like writing Lestat's name on his notebook and all like, and she's over there like, oh my gosh.
And I love the teasing that's happening to Armand of like, you think he's that he's the only one, and it's just she's so mean, but also kind of I kind of like it. But there's
Brutal
like
honesty.
so much of like Lestat in her. Like there's just so much that we learn over time. We're like, okay, that's where he gets
I think
this.
the difference between them, because people say she's very cold and cruel, the difference is that she had lived a hard life for, I don't know, 50 something years probably. You know, she'd had all these kids and all these
She
things
was
before
taking it out.
she is much more beat down by the world and much more cynical about the world, people, all the things. Lestat still has his youth kind of, so I think maybe that's the difference. And just, but yes, they are similar, but she is broken in her own ways, for sure.
Yeah, she definitely picked up the mean girl vibes and ran with it.
Well, I mean, inconsistent with the theme of the episode, she has her own trauma that she's dealing with.
Yep.
Yes.
That
yes,
kind
she
of
does.
colors her actions.
You can't run
Little
away
bit.
from it. You got to deal with it,
They might have wrote a song about it.
especially if you don't deal with it for 100 or 280 years. Come on now.
That is true. So, all right. Now, Nikki's spiral into madness is going to continue after witnessing Nikki cut off his own hand. It's certainly known that between the three, Nikki's days are at an end. One, I thought it was really interesting, the hand lopping, because it's almost as like it signals like the one thing that he had at the time that Lestat probably still loved was his talent. And his ability to play that instrument just went into the fire with his hand, essentially.
And see,
Right, because that's when Lestat really reacted when he threw the hand into the fire. He didn't react when he cut it off.
Because they could have put it back on
Right.
and his body would have just fused up, but it would have re-sinewed together.
Yes.
Thrown in the fire, that's gone.
Because as
It's
we
all gone
learned,
now.
limbs can live off of the vampire's body for some time.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. We got to get back to that later because I have a thought on
I
Yes.
that.
told you there was some experimenting going on from Dr. Marine. Thank you.
And as Lestat tells the finality of Nikki, he says that Armand pushed Nikki into the fire, killing him. We're going to come back to that scene later. But
Yet another change from the book, right, Christy?
This is one of those highlights that I have that I really did want to address the difference in the book versus.
Okay. So Lestat, after his disaster of Gabriella, she leaves Paris at some point. She was, whatever. And
She went beyond.
she's like, I really wanted to go right away. There's things I want to see. Come on. She's only sticking around because he's got these attachments that he can't let go from his human life. And now he's brought one of them over, and oh my gosh. But now Louis gone. So but Louis was not gone. He leaves and makes Armand take care of him, literally, not take care of him, not that way. Just like he leaves just like he does, he sets the thing up with Roger so that they can have the theater, they have some money, they're all set up to keep running the theater, and Armand is supposed to take care of Vicky. It is later that Armand sends him a letter letting him know that, sorry, bro, but Nikki didn't make it. We had to put him down. Which is what we saw in the Theater of Vampires, because remember when they're in the crypt room, there was a crypt with his name on it. So we all thought he was in there, but maybe he's not. I don't know. We'll see. Depends on who remembers, I guess.
Okay, before I move on to the next grouping here, Brian, do you have anything that you want to add to the Nicholas
The tragedy
of it all?
of, yeah.
I think probably the thing that's most telling to me is his first love was a musician, and now in present day he's a musician, and he makes the comment when he first hears him that I probably wouldn't be impressed now that,
Not
that
with
what
his
he
art-
did
his-
was pedestrian.
His ears, no, yeah.
Yeah, my ears are better. But it's like it really makes you think, like, did he get on the path to become a musician because of his love for this man? And is that where that sort of was the seed that germinated within him, that's why he's where he is today?
And his love is the music. Maybe he loved Nikki because of the
mm,
music,
yeah.
rather than loving the music because of
He
Nikki.
and that is a common thing. He does love music throughout all of the books because he wrote that song for Lestat or for Louis back in New Orleans when they were back there, right? Even though he had his lover do the
Brought him some
recording of this.
records,
Yeah.
when he was trying to make up with them.
but like he's always interested in music, and you saw he jumped on the piano and played and stuff. Like he is a musician, and he can, I think with his preternatural gifts, he can kind of have like a little more talent, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, now he has a
memory and
better
stuff
It's
like that.
it's
Yeah.
easy to get your 10,000 hours in when you're immortal. I mean,
That's true.
Absolutely. And if you're done with one, I guess you pick up another one, right? But
I
they
did-
they read books basically like this. So imagine learning, songs and stuff would be. But that is a common theme for him. He is absolutely an artist. He is an actor, a musician. He's very creative.
I did have a question for you, Christy. I was
Yeah.
watching something on TikTok today, and the guy who did the video said that in the book, the coven actually started the fire, and that he went willingly into the fire. He pirouetted into the fire, is the way she described it. And what she thought was they changed it because they couldn't show that on TV.
Oh, maybe.
Because
Or-
it was literally suicide.
Yeah, self.
Oh yeah, he
I
was
mean,
very
we
suicidal.
saw
He's, like,
Louis. We saw
hacking off
Louis
pieces of
walk
his
out into
body.
the sun too. So
Yes. And no, he's hacking pieces of his body off. I mean,
that's a little more violent.
So
Right, but-
I feel like actually it was more humane to take him out now. Like he wanted the gift, so Lestat gave it to him to try to make him happy. But then it was like, but now you're still not happy because now you're more bonkers. You hear everything and see colors and like the things that are like
Those
really
toddler
weird.
years are tough,
Yeah.
Daniel.
And so yeah, I think what if they killed him just like that? That's how they did it. That was probably more humane, honestly. Just
Okay,
poor guy. But
Well,
yes, it was the coven as a group because
Right.
were a family.
a group
yeah.
decision.
But
yes.
Armand was absolutely the one who did it.
Right.
Ordered it, yeah.
Now let's move on to the second of our thirds and go to Louis. So Louis, as we know, has basically been hired to be a hitman for Talamasca.
Well,
they kind of want the vampires to control
baited
the
him and do
vampires.
something
yeah,
to Talamasca. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure I like that characterization of his motivations, but
Yeah,
okay.
they baited him. They
Yeah,
were like,
I mean, it
"Hey."
was manipulation 101, which
Yeah.
honestly, if we had
He
the
don't need
rules
the
of
money.
fourths, it would be its own category. But manipulation going into trauma is definitely something we're going to talk about moving
Yeah.
forward, because that is the constant push and pull of PTSD and trauma, and watching victims reestablish the things that had happened to them over and over and over again. So Louis now is on the hunt for killer, and he's in a little bit of a quest to end his guilt and his suffering and the hole that Claudia's death left in him. And he finds the lair and one by one removes his threats, starting with Jar Jar.
Yo, was that not the most Tarantino-esque like scene?
Especially with
it
the
so was.
with the possum.
Yeah.
Yes, you shoot another possum, bro. You know what? This is the thing. You have somebody who has for seasons been like with he doesn't like to make victims. He doesn't like to create victims. He doesn't like
he's a
to beat on
vegetarian.
people. He has all of these, moral rules, and he's just like letting them all out on this one coven right now, and he's tearing them to bits. And it's like the entire time I'm thinking like, man, when he breaks the law, the vampire law, he goes full out. Like he's not holding back. So
He
he is
gives
ripping
zero
these guys
Fs.
apart. Yeah, I mean, he is covered in blood as they walk
Just
into the
sitting
door.
there.
Just
And
smoking.
I love how he
being
fires
cool.
the gun and then just levitates up to the second floor as they all run out the front.
Yes.
He's like, oh, hey. Yeah.
It was
mhm.
beautifully shot, honestly.
Yes. So once he has
He walks in.
entered this
I'm looking
lair,
for
taking them all
Bruce.
out. Yeah, Bruce,
Tequila?
who? You got the wrong address, buddy. But he's sitting there coolly smoking his blood-drenched cigarette, and baby Jenks and killer newlyweds walk into the door. Killer carrying his bride across the threshold is the last act he is going to make as a living being using his spine, because that is swiftly removed,
Oh, you only need to remove a little
which
bit
was
of it.
pretty badass, actually.
It was.
Just a couple.
I was like, what did
just a
he just?
couple pieces.
Oh, because he throws the vertebrae down and they smatter all over.
Shatter
Well,
it.
I didn't
Legos.
realize initially
Like
what he had
Legos.
done until he started
I didn't
reading
either.
Claudia's story, and I went, "Oh, now I get what
Well,
happened."
when he lifted him up and put him on the chair, and he just kind of like, I can't really hold my body up. Oh, that was really great.
Can't do it. So he's made him immobilized, and then he reads from Claudia's diary.
Now this is the section that was ripped out
4
when he was
pages.
yes, in a little Ziploc, protected.
Yeah, it was so great.
And it speaks of her torture and her rape and her trauma. My note on this before I continue the statement is, what an amazing job this was, written through Claudia's words.
Yes.
It felt like Claudia. It sounded like I 100% fully believed Claudia wrote those words.
Right.
And it speaks about her torture and her rape, and it is hers, and Louis wants to make it Killer's pain. He lights Bruce on fire after smacking him around a few times, and then leaves. So he's taken out an entire coven again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He likes to burn shit down. I was not lost on me that this aired on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, by the way. And right. And he got to do
Father Mags.
Probably what a lot of parents or fathers would want to do in a situation where you were unable to protect your child. And it messed her up forever. And then you're able to track that. You get word that person, I'll go down there and visit him. I felt very, this is his trauma he's dealing with, right? Because Armand had taken these memories from him, and at some point, right, so he could live better, and so he's dealing with all of this too. Dude, the show is about trauma. It's not a love story.
100%. I mean, there's so much.
I love this part because he's dealing with the trauma directly, and Lestat is dealing with it psychologically, and Louis is getting to face this person and deal with it hands-on.
I was so surprised he didn't call Lestat for this, though, that he went along.
But I thought this part of the episode, the Nicholas stuff, I thought this stuff all really worked and really worked well. And I thought, as great as Sam is, Jacob Anderson just sitting there reading this and like the heartbreak, and like he could have played this as just pure anger, but it was like, no, you're gonna sit and hear this and experience it. And I thought this was wonderful stuff.
And what he did to this coven
it's like
is very similar to what he did to the Paris coven. Like it was just a continuation of his vengeance for what was done to Claudia.
Now, this coven, though, had been doing some dastardly deeds around town. They really they kind of stepped out of line. They really need to be taken care of. And that's kind of similar to the
But Louis doesn't go there if not for the Bruce Claudia connection.
Absolutely. Exactly. He's only there for one reason. I'll take out the trash while I'm there.
But unlike Lestat, Louis lets the humans go.
He does. Lets him take his car.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I love it. Called him an Uber.
Yeah.
But when Bruce calls him, when Bruce starts figuring out who Louis is, as he's starting to we have a mutual friend, and he's like sitting him down, and he starts talking, starts reading it, and he starts figuring out, because this bastard's probably done it to a bunch of girls. This ain't the first one, probably.
Well, that was his reaction. I didn't do
nothing that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. But when he goes, "Oh, Daddy Lou," he he could have snapped right there and killed him, and he didn't. He continued doing his thing. Like,
well, and he would have only known to call him that if Claudia had called out to him during the attack, and that was what made it brutal.
No. He's read the book. He's read the effing
Oh,
book,
okay, fair.
and he knows everything
did
about Claudia that was in the book.
Okay, fair.
He knows how she died. Oh, she entertained a bunch of them French people. She was pretty. Her death was pretty entertaining to those French people, or something of that of lines. He says.
Fair.
And so, are you kidding me that you read that and you know about me and you still didn't realize it was me the second you saw me coming for you?
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Killer thinks he can get away with anything. Yeah. Oh.
I think that another really important part about this scene, and I'm jumping just slightly ahead, but I really think that the creative decision to use Claudia's words describing her attack on top of the visual of watching Lestat's attack and abduction and turning was so powerful, because we have these two different characters that throughout the first season definitely and the second season there is this like spitefulness between the two of them, right? Like they can't ever just be close. There's this sense of resentment consistently, and then to have these two voices and these two experiences happening on top of each other, and they're so violent and so upsetting.
Well, it gives new perspective to it. Was he being a dick to her, or when he got her on the train, was he trying to scare the bejesus out of her because like he was sad, traumatized, angry at her for not knowing to keep safe? Like, this is what will happen. There are bad men out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's coming
from
a different place. He's trying to
many layers
scare straight.
It's like the opposite of trauma bonding. It's like trauma unbonding. like the refusal of bonding due to similar traumas.
Right. But he was coming from a place like he knows how, what it could be like. And she just thinks, oh, he's just using my pain to hurt me more.
Right.
Yeah. Without ever considering that he had his own pain. But isn't that what a kid does? You don't understand, Mom.
100%.
You never understand what it's like to be me. Yes, we do.
Well, and I think it's interesting that it shows you Lestat in his story is doing all he can to say I was not a victim. Like that the lies and the things he's telling and what he's saying.
Oh, you mean the biggest fan?
Yes, that he's trying to he's trying to take his power back and
that was hilarious though.
I'm not a victim.
Okay, first of all, that video.
While we think on that, hold on. Let's pause on that, because that's what we're going to jump into right after a commercial break. We're going to take 8 seconds to do a commercial, and then we are going to be right back.
Perfect.
Okay, we're back. And we're going to go right back into the part of the story that is Lestat. So we're in the middle of the interview, and Daniel is pushing and pushing, and he mocks and he prods, and eventually Lestat succumbs. The truth.
Well, he's pointing at him now, like your attack or your assault. He calls it out as an assault.
And he's everything that Daniel does when he asks a question. He did it with Louis too, but it's like he's hungrier to do it with Lestat. It's like pulling a scab.
I think
he's always pulling something back and like trying. It's like he's trying to hurt. He's trying to invoke the reaction that might get him the truth. He's. There's a reason why he wins
because it worked
awards.
with Louis.
Yes.
It worked with Louis.
So
it does not work with Lestat.
We get the entire truth Lestat tells him in a very, very moving scene and moving dialogue. The truth of Nikki and his death.
Yeah.
And the sound of his body in the fire. And
that thing with the mouth and the O, that's from the book. And it's so the blood tears were on point. It was gorgeous. It was so good.
It was because
you can see his eyes welling up, and I was like, how are they doing that? Making it look like that's Like you could see it like glistening,
Yeah.
like tears, but they weren't red, and then they were just a little red, and then as they came down, they were red, but like didn't leave a red streak. Oh my gosh, sorry,
It was beautiful.
I fangirled a little bit there because we knew that's a thing.
Yeah.
They don't blood piss because they don't piss, but they blood cry. So here we get to see it.
They
Yeah.
blood cry. And Daniel thinks that, of course, like he thinks that he just won it all.
We got it.
It's like, it's almost like I love Daniel. I love this character so much. But in that moment, the way that he's like fiending off of this reaction, it's gross. It's like you want to push Daniel away a little bit and be like, dude, ew. Like, calm down. Don't
this
be so
is the
obvious
part
about it.
this episode I hated.
Okay.
I hated the way Daniel acted in this interview. I thought once he got the reaction from Lestat, he would pull back and show some empathy. And the problem I have with it, he's been on a bus with him now, according to Lestat, for 6 weeks.
And he's sick of it. He is so sick of it. He's so angry about it.
Well, but he is, but
because he hasn't been able to crack him.
He's saved him in the hotel. They have built like this rapport that's completely absent from this interview in a way that I felt was not realistic for a good journalist. A good journalist builds rapport and then tries to shake you up and then reestablishes rapport. And I felt like he just was on the attack the whole time. Like, okay, I get it. Does he stutter? Like he mentions that like 6 times in this episode. He's mentioned it all
5 times the episode before, and 5
it's
times
like
in
it's like
books,
too
he
much.
Does not stutter. That's not a thing. So I couldn't figure out why he's.
Okay, I have a theory.
I
have a theory about that. By the way,
was it raining?
I've not seen anything. I have not seen anything that confirms this. This is just a theory. But do you know, like when somebody gets hypnotized and they use like a code or a phrase to like make them do a certain action? This is what it felt like to me. And I feel like it was really intentional to mimic that because like that's the code, that's the word, that's the
he knows it makes him,
hypnotizer's
it's
cue.
making him mad. He never answers it, right?
I wasn't taking it that way. I think it was Daniel that he found out that got under his skin. And so when he was trying to dig, it wasn't some psychological thing, signal embedded.
Well, not on Daniel's behalf. It wasn't as deep on Daniel's behalf. It was to egg him on. Yes. But as a writer, it feels like it's very similar to that. Like, what's the thing that you can do that can trigger somebody? And that's
he found the soft spot and just kept pounding on it,
which is what he does. But I think there's something to the fact that
he did it to Louis for an entire season.
Yes.
But not so without empathy, kind of like calling him on his bullshit, but not really
because I think Daniel liked Louis.
I think it's different.
Disliked Armand,
I think it's because
at least
he was
initially,
human.
And
I think
hated
it's because he was
Lestat.
human.
I think it's because he was human and had a little sense of fear that he was in a vampire's lair.
Probably that. But if you see the characters that we've seen so far in their human form and then in their vampire form, what ends up happening is kind of like whoever you are is who you are. But once you're a vampire, that just gets like super dialed up.
Highlighted, yeah.
Right? So Gabriella wants to run away and she wants to screw every guy in the village. And then she becomes a vampire and it's like, well, that's it. I have no boundaries. So she's out in the world doing who knows what. Lestat was a little vain about himself walking around with this coat and he was an actor and people were liking him. And then he became a vampire and now he's like this super.
I'm sorry, just imagine Sam Reed swishing in his cloak.
Yeah, because it's like the way he walks in those calfskin boots, man. Okay, so you know what I mean? So I think the same is for Daniel, right? Daniel he's an investigative journalist, and now he can read people's minds. So he's kind of like the best investigative journalist of all time at this point, right? And if that's something in him that he likes doing, he kind of likes breaking people down and getting their story out. He thinks he's going to do this with Lestat, right? Because he did with Louis, and he helped Louis remember. So I think he's trying to push him to remember
riding that
as well.
high horse a little bit.
And he doesn't really understand. And I just think he's getting mad because he can't do to Lestat, I don't know. Yeah.
He's being
But I think-
an
I also
asshole.
think-
He thinks
doing
it'd be
a
so
But
little-
easy.
he's being a
I
little
also
shit.
I also think
Mhm.
he likes the fame. He likes the
Definitely,
fame
yeah.
the book got him, because remember he
Mhm.
says
Yes,
to Louis at
absolutely.
one point, "Why don't you give me a sequel?"
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
he brags about he's going to take the documentary to Cannes. I've won 2 Pulitzers. I'm taking this
Yeah.
to
Oh,
Cannes,
he's
right?
gotten
So
very cocky.
right, because
Yeah.
he
He
likes
was already cocky.
he likes the adoration his art is giving him, no different than Lestat. So
Yep.
maybe
Yes.
part of his disdain for Lestat is it's a little bit of a mirror. In
Mhm.
other words,
Yeah.
their art is different, but the vanity's
Sure.
the same.
Well, and I think
Sure.
that remember that his kind of when he was in Dubai, his thing was kind of like, I'm a whatever he said his age, year old
Yeah.
man. When they were like, oh, you're different, whatever. And he was kind of like pushed back on them. He's like, I'm dying already. I'm
Yeah, I don't
sick,
care if
I'm
you kill
old.
me.
I don't really care. I just want to get this story. So he's always kind of been kind of bold that way. And I think he was really pissed off that Lestat made him wait, that he didn't show up on
Well,
time for their thing.
yeah, he was
He's
being
like
yeah.
all like, yeah, very like upset about like, you're not taking this seriously. You're not taking me seriously.
Well,
I
and I
is
think
what-
that Daniel likely
I saved you even. Aren't we bros now? And
Yeah,
Lestat's just
I
like,
saved
I'm
you.
not giving it to you.
I
Sorry,
think that
not telling
Daniel
my
also
secrets.
lives in, and probably before he even had fame, it really seemed like the kind of personality he was is like that the world somehow fucked him over. Somebody owes him something, and he's gonna dig it out. He's screw you, buddy. I'm gonna get what I want.
When a band has a top hits it big, he no longer likes them. They suck now.
He moves on. I never liked that band.
They suck now. They
Sellouts.
suck now. I like their old stuff.
Well,
like their first album.
as icky as it all was in this situation with Lestat, the jokes on Daniel, because I mean, like, Daniel thinks that he won it all, right? But then it turns out that Lestat is locked into his mind, and it was all in there. It's in a box. He's unable to use it. There's no footage. And that is going to lead us to the inevitable downfall of Daniel, as Lestat tells us at the beginning of this episode, that Daniel's life as a vampire is not going to be long.
And Jamie, before we run into the inevitable downfall of our podcast, I think we need to take a break for a commercial break.
We did that already.
Did we?
At 33:39.
But I mean, okay.
That's how much I hate Daniel. That's how much I hate Daniel in this episode. Daniel's got me wrong.
It was all in your head.
I want to raise a point. What Stad did was clearly very cruel, right? But let me finish. Do you think there's an aspect of not giving Daniel his story so he'll stick around, kind of like Almost Famous? How he never gave the kid the interview because he knew he'd go home after he had it?
Listen, the biggest he had a whole song about it. The biggest thing that vampires have is loneliness, right? You have to endure. There's not very many of you. You can't just be out and
Daniel
proud.
challenges him.
Lonely.
He challenges him intellectually. He probably gets boring after 280 years.
Sure.
And so
with Armand,
he keeps him around by not.
Santiago had a presence.
Yeah.
I understand. But okay, so let's look at this, because then we're going to include, we're talking about his abandonment issues, and we have to talk about Gabriella. We did last week, and then what Gabriella does in the middle of this interview.
She is real bored.
It's like she toys with people so much, including her own maker / son.
Yeah, she's not really good with other people, honestly.
I think between what's going on with Daniel, between Lestat and Daniel, the surfacing of all these painful memories, then his own mom is going and doing this in the middle of something so serious,
his body double,
and traumatic for him.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening in that interview that would just screw with anybody. Like,
she doesn't.
Pun intended.
Yeah, literally.
Intended.
He's kind of like trying to control it all. Daniel's trying to get in control, but he's trying to control it, right? He's kind of having the back and forth with Daniel. He doesn't really want to talk about certain things. He's like, "Oh, Magnus, no, I mean, like, oh," and then he says, your mother Remember? He's like, oh yeah, she died. I mean, he's trying to control everything and make everything so nice and picturesque, and there's no problems here, which is exactly what a victim does oftentimes before they
Yeah, it's
come to
fine.
terms
Yep.
with it. And when she goes in there and does that, I'm trying to figure out what her motivation would have been for that, other than just she's a bitch. Okay, I get it. But something in her, she doesn't think that she is, right? She thinks she's doing it for a reason for her kid. So is it to tell him that what's going on is not important at all? Like he's not dealing with it. He's not getting to
She's
the
bored.
she's so bored and
She's
she's so
bored.
ready to leave. And I think she wants him to go, get out of here. And at this point, she wants to fight so she can leave. He called for her. She showed up. She helped him. And now she's like, okay,
Yeah, especially when it comes
he never
to
wants him to leave.
anytime Lestat shows any semblance of human emotion, she gets the ick. She's like, dude, I can't do this.
Or she laughs at him, one or the other.
Is that
Yes.
to harden him up because she thinks he suffers too much? Is she trying to do that, like, tough it up?
I think
Be a
she's just
man.
uncomfortable with it, and that's how she deals with it. She either pushes it away or laughs at it. And we do have to mention, like, the sex in the bathroom. David Cronenberg, the director, would say to the actress, "Can you dial it down a little?"
No, that was on purpose, clearly. That wasn't real. That was obviously her.
Yes.
Come on.
Making a spectacle of it to be mean to everybody else that was working on the interview.
To, like, I don't know.
Be disruptive.
To be disruptive. Absolutely.
Yeah. She's just
this whole thing is bullshit.
I think what her issue is that
she's such a Yoko.
I think that she just has psychological issues and she doesn't have empathy, and she might be a little bit of a sociopath.
Her sex sound was very Yoko-ish here. That's pretty good.
Her sex sound was very like Yoko's singing.
Yes,
exactly. Oh, sorry, Yoko.
Oh, come on now.
You know, I mean, you have to think, like, at her time period, being born and being raised and probably being like 13 or 14 years old and married off to somebody in another country that is, it's not her home. There's nobody there she knows. Like, she has to do whatever she's his possession. He just keeps impregnating her. I mean, she has really just
she learned to stop feeling. She learned to stop feeling at a young age. In order to
like,
do you think there's anything to the fact that she chose his body double as the
absolutely
person?
Again, it's just an antagonizing shit. She's like, oh, hey, you like, it's like, oh, hey, Lestat, I can't have you right now because you're so busy doing this stuff that I'll just take this other one. You know,
but
like, there's more than one of you.
The vampires cannot get STDs. Fun fact.
Well, this fella had the chlamydia, so
no, he had the
herpes, yeah.
And when Stat gets on the curse, what is that on your lip?
Yeah, exactly. Right away. They just zone in on it because their sight is so good.
Well, after all of this psychological craziness is happening, Lestat decides to leave the interview. He's done. It's interesting. He stops and he kind of like confesses to Daniel, like, listen, I act like we're the best thing. I know that we're having trouble, selling these tickets, but it's like, I don't care. It's just, I don't know why I keep pushing, but I'm not, I know I'm not a god, basically, is what the statement was.
He wants everyone to love him.
It was so interesting that he locked all of that shit up. Like, he gave Daniel what he wanted, but not in the form Daniel wanted it. But
sometimes when you're sharing your personal trauma with a friend, which is Daniel thinks they're like, we're cool now, bro, right? Like, if we're cool, then I can talk to you about this and we can talk and I can tell you my story and we can decide not to publish it or not to have it be on interview.
It's so interesting
that
he tells
he doesn't see, but Daniel doesn't see that. Like, he didn't tell that story to very many people. And the fact that
he did gift him the truth, but then after gifting him the truth and keeping it locked up, he tells Daniel, like, hey, you know what, like, I know I'm not a god, I'm not all these things, and it feels like, oh, that's a nice thing that he's coming to earth and he's saying, hey, you and I are this, but in reality it's like he's kind of messing with Daniel on that statement,
because he knows it didn't record.
Because but he just removed some of that magic away from like Daniel's drive to get that this documentary, you know, like, he realizes he's just a normal guy.
What's also interesting is he gave him the truth about Nikki, but he did not give him the truth about Magnus.
Well, no,
but like that thing he had on stage, that whatever, the drugs, and then the thing that he had where he realized that he was holding the band back, like that
the epiphany.
He's seeing his failures from his life, from both lives, and he's like literally all the muses, all the demons are coming back, and he's gonna have to he's dealing with all of it, and we're seeing that. I think it's a great storytelling effect to use that as him kind of like coming to terms with these different traumas and admitting that these things happen.
The interesting thing is he tells the truth about being a bad guy, but about being a victim, he denies. He basically doesn't let Magnus be the victim of, or be the villain in his story, but he takes responsibility for being the villain in Nicholas's story.
It's his strength.
It's an armor. It's an armor, right?
Yes.
If you don't let, many people who are victims do that, right? They don't want to be the victim, so they don't portray themselves that way. And many times when they are recounting what has happened to them, they will recount it in exactly how Lestat did. Make it like rosy. Totally change what happened.
Yeah,
really?
It was nothing.
Okay.
Or cracking a joke, cracking a joke about it. Yeah.
Do you think the whole mind thing was in response to Daniel constantly bringing up the stuttering thing?
It's everything between the two of them is, oh yeah, well, screw you, buddy. Like everything between the two of them is kind of like that push-pull. It's like they're always just screwing with each other.
Well, I think Lestat, as the artiste that he is really trying to control this whole Vampire Lestat situation, right? The band, the music. He's trying to control all of it. And he hires Daniel to do a documentary of the tour.
But does he hire him? Or is this Telemaster manipulating the trauma?
He said he did it. Daniel claims he was hired. Lestat says it wasn't him. But he is trying to like get all this together. Later, when we're in the car, Magnus straight up asks him, when will we get an album? And he still hasn't released an album, right? That's what's going on.
It's ready.
Like, he's like this artist who it's never good enough.
Well, let's talk about that scene in the car, because that's going to kind of wrap us up to the end of this conversation. Lestat drives away from this interview. He's not alone. The ghost of his abuser is making a comeback, and he's there to torture him a little bit further.
Well, it's continuing the theme of the muses showing up.
Yeah,
correct.
And the interview,
when he doesn't want them.
See a couple more,
interview itself probably awakens a lot of the PTSD in the story of Magnus, and so very much like we had with Louis, in season 2, where he was almost Lestat's ghost was stalking him. Here too, we are seeing this. He's being stalked, and the true story is that he originally was stalked and he was stolen, not so much by an obsessed fan, but a predator. Lestat was the prey, and he was abused, and like Claudia, he was a victim of the cruelty, and he had a traumatic death and a traumatic rebirth. And now he's here with his maker, who's always in his shadow. In the car, he's riding as the passenger, and then he's a face in the crowd. But Lestat cites Psalm 118 as he's rolling his Camaro in order to be rid of the voice.
Well, that was it was the same thing he recited during the attack.
And it was his threats, all these threats about the album, and all the threats about the long table.
Well, he used it as a metaphor, right? You have all of these folks that look like you, or these boys that look like you, and that was part of the torture, because Magnus was hunting. Magnus was a hunchback, deformed scientist, scholar at that time, alchemist, and he becomes friends with this other vampire, and he wants to become a vampire, but one of the rules is you cannot turn someone who is not beautiful, and so he ends up, the other vampire that makes him does so kind of Lestat style, like, I don't care what the rules are, I'm gonna do it anyway. But then everybody is upset and they want to kill him. So he's looking for, who can I pass this on to? It turns out it's not that great, honestly. And so he's hunting this like, just like a serial killer. He has he wanted him blonde, blue-eyed, male. And he stumbles into that theater and sees Lestat on stage and is like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for. He's already got the dead boys back in his castle, in his tower, right? That all look, he drags Lestat there, and Lestat says that he sees all these dead boys that look like him. And he just leaves them there and just keeps, So yeah, he's a special kind of crazy himself.
Yeah, I mean,
his plan was to
so
pass
much
his blood on and then dip out.
What did you all
And
think
there's
of the
so
actor
much-
that played him?
Okay, there's
He did a
just
great
so
job,
much.
I think.
There's so much mirroring, and that whole story of Lestat in Anne Rice's real life and what she was going through, and trying to heal from her own trauma that she experienced while she was writing all of this, and it's a big part of why it feels so. It's so icky and close to the truth, when you have somebody who has been victimized in very specific ways, sometimes they grow up to be the predator themselves, and they continue that victimization. They go and find a prey exactly which was what they were, and it
so you get that piece
repeats
of their
itself.
self back. Yeah, it's very twisted. It's listen, it's not a great thing, but yes, she made beautiful art out of it instead. And yeah, I mean, her words are beautiful. I think there were many lines from this episode that were taken straight from her writings, especially the Nikki stuff. And her words are just really beautiful and poetic. And she really is. She's kind of a goth girl, for real. But
And it's
emo
interesting.
Girl.
In maybe a less flamboyant way than Lestat might have done it himself. It's taking something that's just disgusting and raw and painful and dirty and putting a bow on it, making it presentable. And for many people, it's like, if they can make it presentable to themselves, then they can process the trauma. But some people have to try to make it presentable to the world and never really process
right.
it.
I mean, think about the human beings that live, I don't know, human being lifetime, 80 years, never dealing with things that happened to them in their youth, right? They don't want to look at it. They don't think about it. They just push it away. And then you have Lestat. If you're a vampire, it doesn't make everything okay. You know what I mean? You still are messed up. And if you still got to deal with your stuff. And
just ask Nikki. He'll tell you.
These interviews are kind of like therapy for them, honestly. We're kind of seeing them having to deal with their shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you stated earlier, David, when he rolls that Camaro, I did not catch that Toronto crumbles in the background. So
it was right before that. He's driving the Camaro, and you see Toronto and the spire.
I think it says something like, I think there's another, you're listening to the failures, whatever, as he's driving by the scenery, the skyline is in the background, and they give that, and you see the tower start to
spire. First it goes dark, and then it crumbles.
And there's some speculation on that. What do you think?
There might be some things. And we close the episode. Well, not quite yet, but we end up with him on stage, and he's performing Loneliness, which, I mean, like, come on, okay, that's like Jermaine Clement level, like
that song.
I love that song, but it could have come out of Flight of the Conchords so easily.
For me, it seemed like
I liked it a lot, but
I felt like they were 1000% channeling Prince Rogers Nelson in that. And the way he hit those notes, because usually most of the songs, he doesn't sing in that range. He doesn't sing in that.
No, it's so good. Both songs in this episode, I love.
One was so like 80s video, pop video.
Yeah, I thought that song kind of sucked, but I thought it was supposed to suck. I thought that was the whole point of it, right?
It's so funny.
I love it.
Honestly, it's
you know what it is. You know what it's like a Billy Idol like love song, right? Like, or like,
sick and twisted, but love is love to the person who's feeling it.
Love is love. Love. Yeah, I really adore both
I
the
like
songs.
this, and I thought this final section worked because it was like this was like his exorcism of the ghosts, and his mom and Magnus both walk out the door of the club, and
Yes.
he's
Together at
returning
the same
to
time.
music, not for fame, not for anything
Because he
other
loves the
than
music.
like he loves music, and that's sort of his exorcism moment. And so I thought this ending was really effective, and like them walking out the door is almost like the fadeaway you'd
Oh, and
see
then
in
he
somebody
stops.
just-
He stops singing, and then he says perfection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Whereas on the opening thing, he said that was shit or something
Right.
like that.
Oh, that was shit. So do you think that was Gabriella leaving? Was that her peacing out? Goodbye?
I'm not sure she was actually there.
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure that she wasn't amused at that moment.
Honestly, I would be okay if she left as long as she's ready to come back if he needs her. When they assemble
when
the
it's
Justice
needed.
League, I hope she comes
But-
back.
But what's interesting enough is that really should have been, that should have been the end of the episode, yet it was not.
It was not.
There
And
were
I'm
what,
gonna tell you
four
right now-
scenes,
end up-
right?
Well, we have one more. We end up in Ohio.
No, we have the Louis scene. And then
Louis
we
seen in the
have-
car.
Well, okay,
And then-
we
and
have
then
we
we
have
go.
Louis.
You
Yeah,
know,
we have
the one
Louis.
that
Louis in the
Emotionless
diner we got to
available.
talk about.
Oh no, but I was
He's-
gonna say the one earlier where he's talking to Lemuel, and they had said that Lemuel was emotionally unavailable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yet he calls to check up to make sure he's okay.
Yeah. Are you coming home? Did it
Lies.
go okay? Yeah.
Lies.
Always lying.
Then instead of going home, he goes to the diner. He can get some coffee.
Yeah, and he sees Claudia and the waitress.
What is it? The stone and the brick and bacon.
Yeah,
and
brick and
bacon.
bacon. Which by the way, there's no restaurant named that. I looked.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, I bet you they're better than First Watch.
No, definitely better than the Waffle House, but
And now a
Yeah.
word from our sponsor.
So what was her name? What was her name on
Regina.
Regina,
Regina.
which means queen
Queen.
in Latin. Yeah,
Ah.
Regina.
I think that it's really it's so heartbreaking, but it's like Louis recognizing like she's never gonna go away.
She
Like
just thinks it's some like really handsome, kind of cute, mysterious looking guy over there ordering coffee, but nothing else. And she's like, and he's kind of eyeballing me, and I don't know if he's hitting on me. Maybe he'll leave me a good tip.
No, I mean, like it's just the realization of like, oh, she's still here. This vengeance didn't pay off, I guess. Like, what can you do? But that's
hope
still
he
coming
finds
to it's
finds
still
some
coming
closure
to
for
some
himself.
kind of term, right? Like some understanding within himself. Like he didn't seem like he was angry or overly emotional about it.
Well,
I hope
but
that he understands it was not just him, because he's held so much guilt himself, but it
Mhm.
wasn't just, he didn't help, but he wasn't just him that screwed her up. You know what I mean? Like it was partly him, but it was other people too.
Yes.
So.
He had his part to play. But
David,
then,
what were you gonna say?
okay, yeah, David, what are you gonna say? I guess I'll let you talk.
well, no, I was just simply going to say there in the preview they showed Regina
Yes.
back in the preview. So I there's got to be more to it than that, because I thought to it was, is he just seeing her and everybody now? What was kind of the
Louis
message?
sees ghosts, so like that's.
So is that
Louis'
kind of like
thing.
his muse? Like
I think she's just a real person that looks a lot like Claudia, because they say that there's not an infinite amount of faces in the world, and if you scramble them together, you're gonna get that face again, right?
He's just gonna
So-
see her wherever he goes.
And
I
so
think.
if you live long enough, you're probably gonna run into someone who might look like somebody you knew once upon a time.
Once upon a time. And speaking of recognizing faces, we land ourselves at the end of this episode in a little town in Ohio at an AA meeting.
Monroe, right?
Monroe, Ohio, of all places. No offense.
You don't want to get stuck there.
At an AA meeting where we meet Alex, and he's talking about the band he was in.
Oh
How
my
they're really
gosh.
starting to take off.
Oh my god. He was whining so bad, right?
And
Oh, they're everywhere.
perfect
They're just about-
accompaniment.
If you haven't heard of him yet, you're gonna hear about him really soon. And
You're gonna hear about him real soon.
have to
I just
watch
keep
him
He was
do
like
good
he was
without me.
like channeling Pete Best in the mid '60s.
Yes, 100%.
He was
But
having
this is-
FOMO big time.
But
I'm
you know
gonna say
what?
If Pete Best has had this conversation with some people,
But who
It-
else? Who
it
else
strike-
was sitting in that meeting, that AA meeting of
okay,
all
he was not
people?
sitting there. He was not sitting there. I rewound that thing 4 times. When they're zooming in
Okay.
on it, I even counted where he's supposed to be in the ring around, because as they go around as you're coming in, he was not sitting there. He was
to
not
begin
there.
with.
And then they do the
Okay.
switcheroo, and I was like, oh, because it would have been maybe too obvious. We would have recognized him right away when they were pushing
Okay,
it on him.
Because listen, this is what my thought is when I see him. My thought is not, oh, what is Armand doing here? Oh, what is Armand gonna do? Ooh, what's the plot line turning to? It's you cannot
This
tell
gremlin.
me you're all sitting in this meeting and this dude appears with glowing gold eyes, and you're not going, what the fuck?
Now that you know what vampires look like,
Like
Alex,
this
Are
guy
you
is not
loaded?
like he's not chill looking. His eyes are practically aflame, and they are so
Correct.
gold. Come
they're
on
like
now.
pure topaz, like just glowing. in
And
the eye.
what is the guy's name? Alex?
Alex? Yeah.
He does not at all work for me as like the angsty do-gooder guitarist. Like he should be an accountant as the way he's playing
You know
the role.
what he is? He's like Ross on Friends. Like
He's like the
He's like-
talent.
He's not even that cool, frankly.
No, I mean, Lestat says he's the talent of the band. So maybe he's the raw musician, but he has like no stage presence. Like he himself
that
is
charisma's
not.
not there.
I mean, Larry has more stage presence than
Like
than
he's
Alex.
all
Like they-
music theory and no
Yeah.
music performance, right?
yeah. And he's
Yeah, the musical
so,
scientist.
and he's like trying to be straight edge, and he's like,
He's got
I'm a
ideals.
vegetarian now.
Yeah, I
too."
mean, goddamn him for going to an AA meeting, you straight edge weenie.
You goddamn man with
Get
more
back
This
to
is rock and
fiber
roll,
than
man.
a-
Get out of that
No, no,
AA
no.
room.
Well,
No,
first
he's
of all, was
at
it
the
an
AA
AA meeting
complaining
or
that
an
he's not in the
NA
band.
meeting? Because
It was AA.
It was
well,
AA.
because
Yeah.
when Armand speaks, he says I'm an addict. He doesn't say I'm an alcoholic.
But that's because it's Armand, and he's addicted to something else.
Well,
all of
Alex
the
says I
things.
want to take a drink.
Right. Oh, he did say that. That's
Yes,
fair.
he did. All I want to do is take a drink. But Alex is there at an AA meeting complaining that he's not in the band that he chose to walk away from. And they were all saying he was going to be back. And he's just like playing this poor me.
He's like,
He's going to go back to the band. Come on. Give me a break.
Well, clearly, or what would have been the point of the scene?
Right. But I will say it was weird because dude, Armand, can you literally not find anybody else in the world to torture? They all have to be connected to
Well, no.
Lestat.
I think he's trying to sabotage Lestat, so that's what he's going
but
to
you have
do.
to look at the whole trajectory for Armand. Armand meets Louis at the theater. Lestat at the theater vampire. He has the boyfriend Nikki, and then because of everything, then brings them all in, lets them all come in, and so Nikki's always there, and Lestat and Armand's like, and your mom's here too. Oh, okay, fine. And then he leaves for like a whole bunch of time, and then he meets Louis, and then Louis like, but is he interested in Louis only because Louis from Lestat? Do you know what I
Maybe.
mean? Right, exactly. He's wackadoodly. Then he walks off like, we've been together longer than he was with Lestat. Like he's so petty about it, right? When he said that to Daniel. And then Daniel, he has to attack Daniel because now Daniel's in the know and he turns Daniel. And now he's gonna go after Alex. So there's a story in the book, the way he turns Daniel after he leaves the first interview. After some time, he's stalking him around and then eventually turns him. And that's how Daniel becomes a vampire. But Daniel is, and I think that they're kind of laying this out, the actor is of a certain age. He won't be able to do this forever like an actual immortal. So I'm wondering if they're kind of setting some things up to make Alex take some of the storyline that was a Daniel storyline in the books. So he's going to like get Alex and like torture him and really bad to him. Do all the things, all of the gremlin things. Maybe cut
All
his
of the
hands off
arm-
and put him back on. And I don't
the
know.
things Armand likes to do.
yeah, he's
Okay.
him too. But
So before we go through the whole wrap up spiel, does anybody have any last words on this episode?
Yes, I'm gonna do
That-
music
that's all.
corner.
Yes, music corner.
music references. Lestat craps on Jefferson Starship is one of the things.
Oh,
that
yeah, as one of the
destroy
things that could potentially kill him.
Yes.
Oh,
And I
it's
thought,
so
no,
there's-
man, it's Jefferson Starship. Just say Starship. Jefferson Starship
Yeah.
at least was better than Starship. As Jamie mentioned, there's an appearance of a non-Vampire Lestat song, a song by T-Rex, which clearly is an influence on the
Definitely.
stage design.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to go on a little bit of a deep dive. He mentions randomly the Herman's Hermit song, Leaning on a Lamppost. And in case no one's familiar with
stalkery
that, it is a 1937 song that's from a movie called Feather Your Nest, was also in Me and My Girl. And the film's plot, interestingly enough, revolves around George Formby, a gramophone record technician, hearing another person record a song, but then breaks the master disc and substitutes his own voice on the recording. And which I think is an interesting story, that's the story of the
Interesting.
song, because this song, the highest it ever hit in contemporary time, when he mentions Hermits covered it in 1966. It actually has an older history. He also mentions that he really likes Every Breath You Take by the Police. Shocker, melodramatic.
And a little stalkery.
Well, this is all his things. What am I supposed to do? Like, it's been done in music before.
Yes.
The thing about my abuser. People
Yes.
write songs about their abuser. Right?
Yes, and
From the abuser's point of view. Yeah.
he mentions something in case people aren't familiar with, and this is what I like about this show. The writers actually do their diligence.
Yes, they do.
He talks about papering a show potentially in Providence, that if they got big on the road, they would fill this 8,000 seat theater. A papering service is basically like promoters and people hang on to a certain amount of tickets. And if you get close to filling a room, they'll try to give the tickets away to insiders and important people and famous people to get them there at the event, to make
Right.
it more of an event and fill the house. It's why often if you check the day of a concert, sometimes you can get a really good seat, because some of those seats that have been held in reserve will be released right before the concerts. But that's a papering service. Final thing in looking at the pairing, both Lestat and Louis in this episode kill newlyweds.
Yes, they do.
Yes. Okay. You know what? I didn't like that Lestat and his mom did that, because that is not Lestat's hunting style. He always goes after predators. He hunts predators, you know?
So are you saying that Gabrielle is a bad influence?
I wonder if Gabrielle, unless they could read their mind and they were doing something really nefarious behind the scenes, but they didn't mention that, because usually that's what they do. They always look for like who's the they want to kill killers.
Yeah, we got that from last week's, little team. Of
and so for
investors.
them to just do newlyweds, I didn't like it. Or is that maybe Gabriella like going like, I'm killing the whole status of like being married and whatever. Oh,
she doesn't like raiders,
And the way that she said they did it was like they had just met at a speed dating thing and they were already getting like they said something like that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe she's thinking like, you're better off dead, girl. You don't even know what you did. You don't even know him. Maybe.
I think
But that's
Gabrielle
not
just sees
Lestat's
happiness and is
style.
like, we gotta get rid of that.
I'm going to free you from him.
Yeah, no happiness for you. You're happy now, but wait 15 years. You know, like she really thinks she's saving them.
Yeah.
All right, David, what are your final thoughts on the episode?
I was just saying there was nothing in the scene that would indicate Gabrielle selected the newlyweds. It
Exactly.
looked like Lestat did. And my feeling on that is he's trying to please his mom.
Maybe. It's a couple. We could do a
Look, Mom, no
scene.
hands.
Is that the vampire?
No, that's
swingers?
Nicholas, Jamie.
Oh, too soon.
Well, next week we go on the Devil's Road.
Okay, see, this is Alex. I think this is going to be that. Question, David. Now that we've spoken about it together, you've spoken about it with some, people with certain opinions. Do you like the episode better now that we've discussed it?
No, I mean, look, I don't dislike. I don't want you to think I disliked it at all. I enjoyed it a ton. For me, it was the least fun to watch. It advanced the story. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of exposition. It just wasn't as fun as the first.
It wasn't as rock and roll.
That's
Maybe.
okay. It's rock and roll's origin story, though.
Oh, when they showed him walking in with his shoes, with his boots, hate
Yes.
me.
Right.
Great scene.
I thought that was a great concert scene again. But
I from my own experience, the episode gets better the second watch.
I watched it a second time before we recorded tonight.
did you?
Yep.
Good for you.
All right.
I don't know,
David's,
if
David's
anybody
thoughts are his own thoughts. He has
And that's when I noticed the spire coming down. I didn't notice it the first time.
Okay. Do you guys watch the after show that they do?
Yes.
And see this?
Yes.
Super fascinating this week. If none of you guys watch it, or if any of you don't, and you want to have some more information about the actual songs from the songwriter himself and talk about their song,
Definitely.
how they were doing it, I think it was fantastic that he was part of the actual writer's room. So as they're coming up with ideas and things, he could just like hop up, and they had rented a house, he said, and they could hop up and he could go out up to his room and like write a little bit, come back with some song. I think that's why these songs are so good. Honestly, he was involved, because so many times the person who's scoring a show or a movie or anything, they're kind of like getting the finished product and then scoring against it, you know? And
Well,
so like,
he did say that when this all came together, the idea was we want to build moments around the songs.
yeah,
Like there's books, so there's something we have to pull
Right.
from, but the goal was to build the moments around the songs rather than have the songs define the moment. And so
but they are defining the moment because the songs
the
are
natural-
autobiographical. They're helping
that's
tell
the natural
narrative.
harmony of it all.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. They're doing a
And
great
every
job.
once in a while the writers would say, hey, we need a song for this specific moment, we're going to need you to do something. But for the most part, they wrote around the songs, and he wrote the songs from the book. So
From the book, y'all, from the book. Also, for any people who are hating on it that it's not exactly the book, what did you think about this is the best score any TV show's ever had when all's said and done? It's got a lot of good songs.
it's pretty great.
As
It
like a
really is.
soundtrack.
Episodes before we're gonna
Okay,
give it
but
that
every
crown.
song's been a banger. So like at this point, if we have 10 more songs, right, by the end,
Yeah.
probably at least that.
Christy's going on record to say the greatest album ever made.
No. I'm saying soundtracks. Do we
Screw
have
you,
soundtracks to
Beatles.
TV shows?
Christy's
typically?
moving in with Lestat.
Like there's some seminal TV like soundtracks from our past, right?
For sure.
Singles, Empire Records, right? Some of the
Mhm.
like Fast Times had a great soundtrack.
Scrubs
right?
had a pretty good one.
But TV not as much. Okay, did they release it as a soundtrack?
Reservoir
Did they?
Dogs was a good soundtrack.
Movie, but yes, very good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Tarantino stuff has always got great sound in it. All
I
the
would
songs
say
are usually
current
really great.
day, there's a pretty great hold for Rooster. Has got a pretty damn
Okay.
great score.
But like original
The
songs,
Bear.
I'm just saying.
No, it's not original songs. Yeah, The Bear, not original songs.
Not
This
original
isn't
songs, so
a league of its own when it comes.
It
comes
might
to
end up
original
being
songs.
like that good, y'all.
It
that
might
good.
be number one on a list of like 5.
Yeah, there's
Like
There's not many.
right above Cop Rock.
But the
is-
idea that they understood that this story had to be told through song.
Yes.
Oh, I
They got
think the
it.
commitment's amazing, and probably the thing
Oh.
that's interested me the most is that the composer has done most of these songs with they tweak the genre on almost every one of these songs.
Mhm.
Like it's the musical theory and talent into the compositions are good, and the
Oh, yeah.
camp is not bad songwriting; it's intentional.
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
Right. That's
And-
what I was saying about the music video of his transition. Is that I think that song was supposed to suck and be campy a little bit because
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
the whole
Because it
for
was
the
his
scene to
false
work, it had to
narrative.
be right.
Right.
Right, because he's lying to himself. Of
Right.
course it's going to be stupid. It's like, come on, dude. No, I think.
Well,
it's
he
Hey,
described
mean,
it as he described
Eminem
it as
did it,
Taylor
you
Swift
know.
esque.
yes.
Sam
Yeah.
Reed
Yes.
did.
And I feel like the writer Daniel Hart is his name. He is. They interviewed him. He
First
is
of all,
so
can we talk about how
quiet,
he has
so
really
shy.
fantastic hair?
But he's like so quiet, so shy. Yes, he did have fantastic hair.
I kind of feel like I feel like I think he keeps a couple muses in that hair.
I'm probably, but
that's
anyway,
where he
he's
keeps
so
them.
like, didn't you guys find him like, I feel like he has a inner rock star in him to be able to write
Yeah.
all of this, but
You have
he
to be able
himself
to do
is
it.
not that kind of a performer. So it's like he might be living a little vicariously through Lestat as well, because he was very quiet,
Mhm.
right?
I mean, you know,
Right,
like a
sure.
lot of the most talented composer rock stars. I mean, look at Brian Wilson. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you have somebody who
Yeah.
can compose. I'm not saying this guy's Brian Wilson, but
No,
he's obviously very talented.
very talented. Yeah. But I think that's just interesting about him as well. Like this, maybe the show's giving him something as well. Like he's read the book, so clearly he
And
enjoys them.
the partnership with Sam
It's like
Reed
if he hated
is a
him.
perfect
Oh.
fit, because he could have done this with a million different actors and it not actually have panned out
I
the way it
cannot see
is,
anyone else doing
because
this.
Sam is just, he's killing it. Like he's just killing it. And to end this on Sam, I have seen a few articles this week that have said that his initial reaction to the script of this episode
Threw it at the wall
was him being really angry with it
because he hadn't read it to the end.
Until he got to the end, because he felt like it was just deviating so far from what it was supposed to be. And then the trick turnaround on it.
These people care about this project so much. All of them.
Yes.
Well, this guy's been studying music since he started filming the first season.
Mhm.
Right,
He's been in vocal training. So what is that, 5 years?
Commitment. Yeah. Is it 5? I think it's got. I
Probably
think so. I think you're right.
I
yeah.
would assume that it started
Or
before
close to.
filming, honestly. But
Yes, yeah, it would have been. Yeah. I don't know. If you guys have ever seen Sam Reed in anything else, he does the newsreader. If any of you guys caught that, excellent. It's a show that he does with the lady from Fringe.
Yep. And Belle, that's Belle. I know him from that. That's what it's called. Bella.
Which one?
Okay. Belle or Bella. I think it's Belle.
Is another show he's on? He was on Belle. I think it's Belle. But he's really good. Anyway.
He's
Good
fantastic. Choice. I loved the episode. I'm gonna stand on this just being one of my favorite of the series. Maybe because I've waited so long to start seeing some of these revelations. Maybe because Sam Reed's acting was phenomenal in these scenes. Maybe I really liked the cheesiness of the Predator love song. I don't know, but I loved it. I loved this episode so much. So,
I loved it, and I loved it when it was stripped away. You know, it's beautiful.
I liked it all.
He's done a great job.
So now we're going to turn to you and ask you, our listeners, what are your thoughts? If you would like to dive in and let us know what you're thinking, please do so at tallythefeedback@yahoo.com.
Challenge us. Let's go.
Challenge us. Let's see what you got. You found us here, but you can always listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcasts at the Jay and Jack Whole Enchilada feed. You are going to find a full assortment of things over there, like the broadcast and the Ramblecast and all of the Tally the Votes coverage of reality TV and more. If you would like to become a Patreon and get the extras, you can by going to patreon.com/JayandJack. And please do not forget to hit like and subscribe. We would love to cover more scripted drama, and your likes will allow us to do so. We will be back next week as we pull our tour bus into, Armand's apology tour. I'm going to get a little sidetracked for a minute. But
it's going to be Gremlin time.
It's Gremlin time, guys. But until then, lock your windows and stay out of our goddamn eye line. Take care.